This is the hardest decision I have ever had to make. I am going and getting an MRI. I don't want to get this MRI in some ways because I don't want to know. I will explain, but first let's just go and get this over and done with. Hey guys, I'm back. It was okay. They were really nice and stuff. I don't like MRIs because they make like my stomach cramp and stuff. Please let me know in the comments, like, if anyone of you guys have had an MRI and it actually like makes your like insides kind of like cramp. I want to know that I'm not crazy. Please let me know if that happened to you. Obviously just had an MRI, so of course we need a reward. So bad. Let's go to Blue Cow Gelato, even though Blue Cow Gelato is not really much of a reward these days considering I have it once a week. And then I'll sit down with the gelato and I'll explain to you guys what's going on, why I had the MRI, and the decision that I have to make. This came to like $2.80 for 2 scoops because I saved up 11 cows, which is like their reward system. And because I had 11 cows, I was able to get an award. So in the end, this really was a reward. Cookies and cream and Ferrero Rocher. Okay, let's talk. My camera died, hence why I'm using the phone, so apologies in advance if the quality is not as good. Alright, let me explain a bit about what's going on here. Why did I get an MRI? To start this, I need to explain back to when I was 6. I was diagnosed with autism and Tourette syndrome. It's not something that I like to talk about because there is a lot of shame around it. There is a lot of misconceptions and people don't really understand much about autism or Tourette syndrome. Yes, there's a lot of awareness about it these days, but it's still something that I struggle to talk about, especially the fact that a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, we support people with autism and Tourette syndrome, are the same sort of people who literally gave me a really hard time when I was a kid because I was different, but now they've all of a sudden decided to support it because it's trendy to do so. But, you know, support it when it's trendy, shame it when it's not. But I digress. So I got put on a medication when I was 6 to help with my Tourette syndrome and my autism. This medication has been incredible. It's done so much to basically help me function as a human being. Without this medication, I am a hot mess in many different ways, and I just can't function as a human being, and I'm not happy in myself, and I just cannot stand it. And I hate the fact that I need a medication to be happy with myself, but that's just how it is. So this medication, I didn't have any issues with it. It was totally fine until recently. Fast forward around about like, I don't know, 10 or more years, maybe like 15 years, I end up getting sick with gastroparesis. And before we knew what was going on, I was getting like really sick. I was losing so much weight and I got myself into a state where if I lost any more weight, it'd be really bad. In fact, it was really bad the way it was. My body felt like it was shutting down because I wasn't getting the right nutrition. We didn't know why at that point. And when I was finally diagnosed with gastroparesis, I was put on life-saving medication that helped me to put my weight all back on and help me to, again, function. This medication, however, stopped working after a while, and it also caused me to lactate, okay? TMI, just gonna put that out there. Ended up coming off this medication, and my prolactin levels went right down from 6,000 when they're supposed to be 500, from 6,000 down to around about 2,000, I think it was, which again is still elevated but much better. Couple months later, I start lactating again. I'm not on this medication anymore, and so I'm really confused as to why. And we get another prolactin test, and my test is around 4,000, meaning it has come up significantly, which didn't make sense because I'd stopped the medication that I thought was causing my prolactin levels to heighten. Well, turns out the medication that I talked about was causing me to have high prolactin levels, but I was off that medication, and because I was on that medication while also being on this medication I've been on since I was 6 for my autism, it had a reaction with that medication, and now the medication that I have for my autism and Tourette syndrome is causing my heightened prolactin levels. I got an MRI because there is a suspected tumor in my pituitary gland. I have a really hard decision to make, and here's the 2 options I have. Stop the medication for my autism and be completely unable to function as a human being and be unhappy all the time and just a terrible person, and minimize the risk of getting a pituitary tumor, or stay on the medication, be able to function as a human being, be able to be happy in myself, and be able to be free from struggling so much mentally, but in turn risk a pituitary tumor, and if I already have one, risk it to grow. That is a hard decision I have to make. And I think people are just like, oh, you know, that's such an easy decision, just stop the medication, like, wouldn't you rather like not have a tumor? Well, unless you are really put in my situation, you will never understand. I'm sorry. But this medication is the only medication that helps me with my autism and Tourette syndrome. We've tried many medications in the past. This medication is a high-risk medication, but it does the job just fine, and it's the only medication that does the job. So I'm left with this difficult decision, and I'm thinking, after a lot of thinking and praying and sitting on it, that I am going to continue with the medication because I just can't live with myself if I can't function mentally. This is the hardest thing to say. This is the hardest thing to put out there because I don't like putting this sort of stuff out there and talking about my mental health, and I know I should probably be more transparent about it, but it's hard when like there's so much stigma around it. I hate the fact I have to make this decision, but it's just the way it is. Enough being said, let's just continue with the day. That was a nice ice cream I had. Blue Cow gelato always makes a bad situation good. 10 out of 10. Definitely recommend. That was my day. If you liked it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and if you liked it even more, don't forget to click that subscribe button. You can also follow me over my Instagram at Gilmour, and if you've made it this far in the video, comment down below. Let's do something a little different. Let's do the surfing emoji. Alright, love you guys. God bless.